Hello, everyone. Dylon here, and today we're going to be covering a funny story, sad story, just a story about a commencement speaker at Ohio State University getting booed for his speech. So like this video, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into this video. I had heard about this because some Bitcoiners had mentioned it. And so basically, the headline they said is Ohio State University commencement speaker admits he was on psychedelic drug ayahuasca when he wrote cringeworthy speech about Bitcoin, drawing boos from the audience. Wow. What could he have said? There's a whole lot to unpack here. I didn't know about the ayahuasca stuff until I opened up this article. I decided I was going to do this video. But let's get into this article. I'll play some of the speech. I'll talk about my thoughts on this poor guy. But see, the commencement speaker for Ohio State University graduation admitted he had written his speech while under the influence of the psychedelic drug ayahuasca. So he wasn't on ayahuasca when he gave the speech, but he wrote it under the influence. And apparently a lot of people do like microdosing and that kind of stuff to help with their creative expression. And I cannot condone the use of drugs or not. That is not really my thing. But if that works for you and helps get you creative, hey, maybe it's the thing you do. I don't know. But it didn't work in this case for his audience, and which is interesting. But anyway, so he wrote it under ayahuasca. Chris Pan, a self-proclaimed social entrepreneur, musician, and professional speaker, he was chosen as OSU's 2024 commencement speaker. So obviously, he's been successful enough and done well enough that OSU, that's a big school, would choose him as a commencement speaker. So clearly, he has a message that was deemed worth sharing with the students. I think when I had my commencement, I went to Rice University, and I'm pretty sure it was Neil deGrasse Tyson. I didn't actually know who he was at that point in time. I was busy studying, right? I wasn't watching. I don't know if his Netflix or the series on the universe was out yet, but I didn't really know who it was. And to be fair, if I think back to my college commencement, I didn't really care. I was just excited to be graduating at that point in time. I had other drama going on in my personal life, which I won't share in this video today. But also, it was when I graduated. I ran track in college, and it was the conference meet. So my last track meet of my life was that day and weekend. So I was going to graduate. My family was in town, and I was going to go run on my track meet. And so I was more focused on the track meet and all that kind of stuff than my commencement. And it was in Houston, Texas, I think it was May 10th or May 11th. So it was hot. It was really hot that time of year. So I wasn't really interested in what the speaker had to say. I just wanted to get out of there, walk through the archway and get my diploma and then go run fast on the track. So I understand college students being like, okay, yeah, whatever. But so this guy, he's got some help to write his commencement speech, and he shared that publicly for 60,000 grads and family members at Ohio State University. And let's see here. So he wanted something heartfelt. He said he tried ChatGPT, but it wasn't that good. Interesting. Let's see here. So his commencement speech Sunday revolved around the importance of cryptocurrency, financial literacy, and what led to inflation. Saving is not enough because inflation exploded after the pandemic, which is why everything got so expensive. I see Bitcoin as a very misunderstood asset class, Pan said. It is decentralized and finite, which means no government can print more at will. As he started talking about Bitcoin, the crowd erupted into disapproving boos. He sighed and continued sharing his investing experience, which he said was not affected by current market conditions, but rather his mental state. The mechanics of investing are actually easy, but it comes down to mindset, Pan said. The most common barriers are fear, laziness, and closed-mindedness. Let's see here. It says the spokesman said that the university does not typically approve the commencement speaker's speech before the ceremony. However, Johnson told WCMH that university staff looked over Pan's draft and after he admitted to being high while writing the initial versions online. Wow. So interesting. And the crypto comments were omitted from the university's own commencement coverage, which instead emphasized other aspects of his remarks, such as learning through failure, accepting differing opinions. At one point during the speech, Pan had the students stand up and wave their arms from right to left to the tune of the song What's Up by Four Non Blondes. All right, interesting. It says the commencement speaker is chosen by a panel of students, faculty, and staff after reviewing the nominations. The panel then chooses a speaker based on the nominee's alignment with the university's values, communication skills, and social relevance. relevance. So he graduated in 1999 with a bachelor's degree in psychology and biology. Makes sense that he's going to be taking ayahuasca. That's quite biology, psychology. That's be what you take. So he's the founder of myintent.org, a jewelry company with custom messages, as well as an advisor in real estate, cryptocurrency, and artificial intelligence. Pan's past roles include being a senior associate at McKinsey, a really good consulting firm, and a marketing director for Pepsi. So he's worked for some from legit companies. So let's hear what he has to say. Then I'll talk into the Bitcoin comments.
Investors are open-minded.
Let's see if we can play this.
Understand things before other people. So I know this might feel polarizing, but I encourage you to keep an open mind right now. I see Bitcoin as a very misunderstood asset class.
And I think he shared this graphic here. If you can't see on the screen, there's probably a better video, but he probably shared this graphic comparing the price of a house to Bitcoin. You hear the boos right there? And there's the sigh that I mentioned in the article.
It's decentralized and finite, which means no government can print more at will. So I know this might feel polarizing, but I encourage you to keep an open mind right now.
No.
I see Bitcoin.
So the immediate response to this person filming this is, no, I'm not going to keep an open mind. Come on, like, these are people graduating from college. They should have an open mind there. Like I said, I understand their feeling. They want to get it done with. It looks cloudy and all that kind of stuff. They want to go party or do whatever they want. They're ready to escape the university. But here's this reaction for Bitcoin, especially from younger people, is really disheartening. Because the things that he said, there's nothing really wrong about what he said. Okay. One, savings is not enough because inflation exploded after the pandemic. It did explode. If you haven't noticed, things are more expensive. Okay. Everything is more expensive. The things that you want to have in your life are getting further and further out of reach, which is not good. That's not a good thing, in part due to the massive money printing. If you look at the value of the dollar, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but it has collapsed. What you can buy with a dollar is... It's mind-blowing how much value is lost in that. And so if you don't understand investing, and most people don't understand investing because financial literacy is not really taught here in America and clearly not taught at Ohio State University, then it's going to be a real problem. Because one of the biggest things that I wish, and this is a personal story, but my parents were not very financially savvy. I didn't grow up with a lot of money, and they were not financially savvy. And so they didn't teach me the fundamentals of investing and saving and finance and all that kind of stuff, okay? And more so the investing thing. I learned about saving, and that worked maybe for your grandparents when the dollar wasn't being just inflated to oblivion and the purchasing power collapsing of that. But as soon as you start to learn about money and understand that every fiat currency, or that the dollar is a fiat currency, because I didn't really know what this was before I got into Bitcoin. I didn't ever think about it. Fiat by decree. Right, so it's not backed by anything, and it has value because the government says it has value because the government makes you pay your taxes in the thing. But because they can just print more of it, it's what you can buy with it. The prices of things around you, it's not like they're getting more valuable, right? The dollar is getting less valuable for the majority of things, especially when you consider that technology has advanced, and technology generally drives the prices down to the marginal cost of production. And if technology is improving, then everything on a normalized scale should be cheaper to produce over time with improved technology. You're not taught this. You don't and so savings works in an environment where the thing that you're saving in maintains its value, that store of value. Okay. The dollar is not a good savings vehicle. So putting dollars in a shoebox and having them under your bed for a rainy day is not a good idea. There's better things out there. If my grandpa would give me $2 bills, I tell a story all the time, would give me $2 bills for Christmas. I still have them. They're still worth $2. They still say $2 on them, but I can buy less things with the $2 than I could when he was giving them to me as a kid. It would have been much better if he had been giving me these silver, buffalo nickels, gold, stocks and companies, potentially anything other than just fiat money. They don't teach you that. And after the pandemic, when we just started massive money printing out, I think we're $36 trillion in debt, something crazy. Everything's more expensive. Okay. And he's not wrong there. He sees Bitcoin as a very misunderstood asset class. And of course, he says keep an open mind. And the person, no, I'm not going to keep an open mind. It's terrible. If you go through get a college education, you should have an open mind, right? But then he says that he sees Bitcoin as a very misunderstood asset class. And it is, obviously, because these people don't understand it. I think a lot of people don't understand Bitcoin, and they don't understand crypto, and they don't understand it. And I think Bitcoin has a bad rap because of a lot of the crypto space. And I'm pro Bitcoin. I'm not pro crypto. Most cryptos are scams. Most of them are going to be failed projects. They're not going to live up to the hype, the expectations, and there's really smart people behind a lot of these projects, people with deep pockets as well, that should know better and doing it just to make money off people that are ignorant to it. I think you can trade in crypto. I think that's the thing, because trading is a skill set. It doesn't really matter what it is. You can trade, and you can find something you can trade with. That's different. I don't recommend everyone trade, but if you're interested, like, you can learn. It's a skill. But they're not the same. And so I think a lot of people confuse them, the two things. And one thing is I have a brother, and I have 5 brothers, but I have a couple brothers, and they got out of college. I'm like, guys, you need to start buying Bitcoin. I've been telling this like for years. And they're like, yeah, whatever, we'll get around to it. And none of them are buying Bitcoin. And I'm like, guys, I gave them the wallet. I showed them how, and they just don't do it because they don't get it. They don't understand it yet. So like he said, misunderstood asset class. They understand that it's something that cannot be taken away from you. Yes, and he's right that he says it does come down to mindset. The mechanics of investing are incredibly easy, but it comes down to mindset. Most common barriers are fear, laziness, and closed-mindedness, which of course, that's what people have. The closed-mindedness is what I had when I heard about Bitcoin, and I refused to do the research to get involved with it. Okay, I wasn't open to the idea of this. I came in with my preconceived notions about what it was, based on headlines I had heard, not on research I had actually done. And had I done the research earlier, I'd have a lot more Bitcoin. And then laziness, right? There's always something else, or you always put it off. You put it off for tomorrow, right? And the next thing is 10 years down the line, and you could have bought before, and now Bitcoin is $60,000, and you could have bought it for a couple $100. And that's the future for a lot of people, unfortunately. So if you're listening to this, if you see this story and you have a negative reaction to something like Bitcoin, you need to ask why, and have you done the research? Go do the research. Listen to my other videos. Go read books on it. Just listen to anything by Michael Saylor, Saifedean Ammous here at the Bitcoin Standard, Jeff Booth, Greg Foss. Go find these guys. Go listen to Robert Breedlove's podcast and start learning about it today, not tomorrow, so you can make informed decisions, educated decisions. Because I can guarantee that if you understand what Bitcoin is, you wouldn't be booing when the commencement speaker brings it up, okay? Now, the opportunity is because this stadium of educated young adults, because there's 60,000 of them, they booed the guy, okay? That means there's opportunity with Bitcoin. That means the secret isn't out. Even though we've been talking about it, I've been talking about it for years. People have been talking, Bitcoin's been around for 15 years now. The cat's not out of the bag yet. People still don't understand it. They don't grasp it. In part is because they haven't been taught the fundamentals. And so many young people will have to, unfortunately, go through the school of hard knocks to learn the realities of money, the realities of investing, and things like that. But because they haven't been taught about it, this still means there's opportunity. The market hasn't saturated. It's not saturated. Okay, you don't have every investment fund with a Bitcoin strategy in place. Not everyone holds Bitcoin in their portfolios yet. That is all coming in the future. And so if you understand that, and you can grasp that reality, and you understand, as he mentions, right, that the supply, if I can find it, he's like, the supply is finite. Right, here we go. He says, is decentralized. It is. It's secure, and it's finite, and no government can print it more at will. That's very important, okay? That U.S. dollar that you have, that can be printed away into oblivion. It is being printed away. If you're not putting those dollars to use and getting assets with those dollars, you're going to have less purchasing power every single year, okay? And so that's the key thing to take away, because if it's finite and then demand increases, this is economics 101. What you should learn at a university, right? The supply stays the same, but the demand goes up. What happens to the price? The price goes up, okay? And that is happening with Bitcoin. So understanding that it's decentralized, understanding that it's secure, that Bitcoin has 15 years of successful implementation, that is backed by one of the largest, most secure computing networks in the world, that's incredibly important. And seeing this out there, right, it makes me sad for the state of the universities. It makes me sad for our young people that so many people still aren't financially literate. Also, that so many people, these kids would have been so much better off had they actually just bought Bitcoin instead of going to the university. I got a degree from a top 20 school, and like I got A's. I did really good in school. No one cares about your degree, right? So afterwards, when I was looking for a job, applying to places, and people didn't care unless they know the school, they know what it is. Like they don't care unless you follow the system, which for some people, that's what you got to do. But if you're an entrepreneur, if you're someone that wants to build things, if you want to go an unconventional path, your degree is, people put so much weight on it when you're young. I think it's because that's what the media wants you to do. There's all the movies about going to like high school and going to college and all that kind of stuff. In my opinion, it's such a waste of time, energy, and money. Right? Some of the most successful people I know didn't go to college or aren't doing what they did in college, or they're successful because of what they did after that. They're successful because they created opportunities for themselves, and they are self-taught. They learned how to deal with people. They learned how to deal with the world. They learned the realities of the world, not just to be some cog in some wheel for someone else that was an innovative thinker. Okay? And so it is sad seeing that these students that got their degree from Ohio State University, in fact, they can hear someone mention Bitcoin and boo, means they didn't learn anything. They didn't learn open-mindedness, right? They didn't learn how to overcome their fears. They didn't learn about investing. They haven't learned about money. That is all very sad. But again, that means there's still opportunity out there for you because you're listening to this channel. And maybe you're sitting there and you're hitting the dislike button. Don't do that. Hit the like button, unless you really do dislike it. But maybe you should be hitting the like button, and then you should also be going over and hitting the buy button on some Bitcoin, because this is just a screaming opportunity for you out there that, hey, the world still isn't ready for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is here. You can get access to it. And when the world is ready for it, you're going to be sitting back, just chilling, just relaxing, being like, I got Bitcoin. Well, actually, you're going to be like, I had Bitcoin, but I had this one boating accident. So that's your future. So anyways, I feel bad for this guy, right? He showed up, right? And he gave his speech, gave his presentation, but I feel worse for the students that booed him, because they're going to be in for a rude awakening when we're sitting here in a few years and Bitcoin's at $200,000+, and they remember back to the moment when they graduated and how everyone was just ripping on this guy, and they booed this guy for bringing up Bitcoin, and they booed him, and they thought that like they were smarter and they could have gotten Bitcoin at $60,000 or whatever it is. And then sure enough, now it's a couple $100,000 or more. They're going to be like, man, I wish I wouldn't have booed that guy. Right? But the sadness is that they don't have the financial literacy and tools available to them. And so I just know they're going to go through more rough patches than they should. And that's why I make these videos. That's why I make courses. That's why I make these trainings. That's why I've written the book, The Bitcoin Business Accelerator, to help provide education to you out there, to people, so that you can become financially literate, so you can understand what Bitcoin is, understand that opportunity, and understand it doesn't take much, right? It doesn't take a lot of money to get involved. All you have to do is just start, and it can snowball really fast. So anyways, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.